What happens when you mix death, sarcasm, and a creepy demon in a striped suit? This film wasn't just made. It was summoned into existence through some of the strangest behind-the-scenes decisions in Hollywood history. Today, we're digging up 20 weird facts about Beetlejuice that'll make you laugh, cringe, and maybe question your sanity. Number 1. Beetlejuice is barely in Beetlejuice. Imagine naming a movie after a character, and then barely putting him in it. Beetlejuice is the title star, the poster boy, the unhinged wedding crasher from beyond the grave. And yet, he's only on screen for about 17 minutes. That's less time than a lunch break. To put it in perspective, Darth Vader had 12 minutes. Hannibal Lecter had 16. Beetlejuice barely beats them and still owns the movie. Michael Keaton shot all his scenes in just 2 weeks, unleashed a tornado of improv, and then dipped. And honestly, that's probably for the best. Any more of that chaotic little gremlin and the audience might have spontaneously combusted. Number 2. The most famous scene was almost cut. Picture this. The most iconic scene in Beetlejuice, the dinner party possession, was this close to being trashed. Tim Burton didn't think it was funny. Yeah, the funniest moment in the entire film almost hit the cutting room floor. But when test audiences saw it, they lost their minds. And that changed everything. The song wasn't even supposed to be Day-O. Originally, it was going to be the 1939 classic If I Didn't Care. Catherine O'Hara suggested Calypso, and suddenly Harry Belafonte's hit became immortal again. But this isn't the only time the film hides something darker beneath the laughter. In Fact 11, a tiny background detail cracks the cheerful surface and reveals something chilling underneath. Number 3. The original script was very different. Believe it or not, Beetlejuice was never meant to be a wisecracking trickster. Nope. In the original script, he was supposed to be a full-on demon with wings, disguised as a Middle Eastern man. No jokes, no charm, just straight-up nightmare fuel. The Maitland's car crash was written as something gruesome, and Lydia? She was destined to die in a fire. Seriously, Tim Burton almost gave us a horror film. One ending even had Beetlejuice destroyed in an exorcism while the Maitlands got shrunk and moved into the model house. Multiple rewrites saved us from a movie that would have traumatized a generation. Instead of dark terror, we got campy chaos. Turns out, Beetlejuice didn't need wings to fly. He just needed Michael Keaton and bad manners. Number 4. They built an entire town from scratch. That charming little town you see in Beetlejuice, it doesn't actually exist. The production team shot the film's outdoor scenes in East Corinth, Vermont. But most of what ended up on screen had to be built from the ground up. The Maitlands' house perched on a hill, a custom-built set. The covered bridge where they meet their untimely end, also built from scratch. Even the look of the town itself was carefully crafted to give off that eerie, too-perfect-to-be-real vibe. The interiors, on the other hand, weren't filmed in Vermont at all. They were shot on a Hollywood soundstage, giving Burton total control over the spooky, surreal look of every corner of the Maitlands' world. That blend of real landscape and fabricated set design is why the town feels both familiar and unsettling, like a dream you can't quite wake up from. Number 5. Beetlejuice almost had a terrible title. It's hard to imagine this film being called anything else, but at one point the studio hated the name Beetlejuice. Warner Brothers execs wanted something safer, something that would test better with audiences. Their pick? House Ghosts. Yeah, House Ghosts. It sounds more like a bad Saturday morning cartoon than a chaotic horror comedy classic. Tim Burton was furious. In pure Burton fashion, he sarcastically suggested renaming it Scared Sheetless as a joke, but the joke backfired. They actually considered it. Burton threatened to jump out the window if they went through with it. Thankfully, he stood his ground. The name stayed Beetlejuice. And honestly, can you imagine chanting House Ghosts 3 times in the mirror? The title Beetlejuice stayed, and that single word became an icon. But this isn't the only time audiences shaped the final film. In Fact 14, the ending itself was completely changed, because people just couldn't get enough of the ghost with the most. Number 6. Michael Keaton. wasn't Burton's first choice to play Beetlejuice. It's almost impossible to picture anyone else screaming, "It's showtime!" But Michael Keaton wasn't the first pick. Tim Burton's original dream Beetlejuice was Sammy Davis Jr. Yup, a Rat Pack legend haunting the afterlife. Dudley Moore and Sam Kinison were also on the list, but David Geffen stepped in and suggested Keaton. Burton didn't even know who he was, but when Keaton showed up, he brought an irrevocable energy. He improvised almost everything, turned a demon into a deranged prankster, and basically stole the entire movie in 17 minutes. Burton didn't find Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice found him. Number 7. Most of the cast needed convincing to sign on. Before this movie became the pop culture monster it is today, nobody wanted to touch it. Tim Burton was basically a new kid on the block, with only Pee-wee's Big Adventure under his belt. The script? Strange. Dark. Completely unlike anything in Hollywood at the time. So when Burton approached Michael Keaton, he said no. Not once, but twice. Alec Baldwin worried this movie could end his career before it even took off. The only person who instantly said yes was Geena Davis, who just trusted the weird vision. And that trust paid off. The movie didn't just succeed, it became legendary. What was once a risky bet turned into a career-defining win for almost everyone involved. Sometimes, the greatest opportunities come wrapped in the weirdest packages. Number 8. Many young stars were considered for the role of Lydia. Before Winona Ryder stepped into Lydia Dietz's goth boots, half of Hollywood's young stars were circling the role. Sarah Jessica Parker, Brooke Shields, Molly Ringwald, Jennifer Connelly, Juliette Lewis, Diane Lane. Basically, the entire teen heartthrob registry of the 80s were considered, but it came down to just two, Winona Ryder and Alyssa Milano. Milano already had TV fame from Who's the Boss, while Ryder was still relatively unknown. Burton ultimately chose Ryder, whose dark, outsider energy fit the role like a black lace glove. Milano later admitted her career could have taken a completely different turn if she'd landed the part. She might have been great, sure, but Ryder was born to be Lydia. And honestly, who else could have made talking to ghosts look that cool? And speaking of iconic performances, in Fact 17, Michael Keaton may have borrowed a little inspiration from a much darker place. Number 9. Beetlejuice is named after a star. Beetlejuice's name isn't just some wacky made-up word, it's actually borrowed from Beetlejuice, a massive red supergiant star in the Orion constellation. The name itself comes from Arabic, meaning the hand of Orion. But watch, the spelling is so weird, even characters in the movie can't get it right. They make fun of how hard it is to pronounce. The filmmakers finally went with Beetlejuice because, let's face it, Beetlejuice looks like a typo your keyboard made at 2 a.m. And there's more. In the opening title card, his name is actually spelled with a space, Beetlejuice. Yup, 3 different spellings in one movie. Whether it was intentional or just gloriously chaotic, the name stuck and became legend. Number 10. Beetlejuice made history. Back before streaming conquered the world, movie fans got their films delivered in little red envelopes. When Netflix first launched its DVD by mail service in March 1998, the very first movie they ever shipped was Beetlejuice. Yep, this weird, chaotic, genre-defying comedy was literally Netflix's first rental. Over the next 25 years, the company sent out more than 5 billion DVDs before finally ending the program in 2023. The final discs they mailed out, customers got to keep them. So technically, Beetlejuice helped start one of the biggest entertainment revolutions of our time. Not bad for a dead guy in a striped suit. All right, pause for a second. If you're loving these wild behind-the-scenes secrets, and make sure you're subscribed. Uh-oh, I might have accidentally summoned someone. And if you thought House Ghosts was a bad title, wait till you hear what almost happened next. Number 11. A background detail references a real-life tragedy. Remember that big, hilarious dinner party scene back in Fact 2? Yeah, all that singing and dancing suddenly feels different when you step into the afterlife. As Barbara and Adam step into the afterlife waiting room, a voice on the PA system mentions Flight 409. That's not fiction. It's a reference to a real United Airlines crash in 1955 when Flight 409 went down in Wyoming, killing 66 people. But here's the creepy part. Beetlejuice is set in the 1980s, so why are these souls just arriving now? Simple. Time in the Netherworld doesn't play by our rules. It warps, bends, and swirls, meaning people from different eras can show up at the same moment. It's one of those blink-and-you'll-miss-it details that turns a goofy ghost comedy into something much stranger. Number 12. Beetlejuice almost got a sequel. Right away. A sequel to Beetlejuice didn't just live in rumors, it was almost real right after the original dropped. Tim Burton brought in writer Jonathan Gems, who delivered what might be the most insane sequel idea ever. Beetlejuice goes Hawaiian. Picture this. The Dietz family moves to Hawaii, builds a resort on an ancient burial ground, and Beetlejuice becomes a surfing hero. Yep, the ghost with the most was going to win a surf contest to save the day. Burton and Michael Keaton were on board at first, but got sidetracked by Batman Returns. The script got passed around, even offered to Kevin Smith, who politely said, "No thanks." In the end, it was never made, which might be the single greatest bullet the afterlife ever dodged. Number 13. Michael Keaton improvised a lot. Michael Keaton didn't just play Beetlejuice, he practically invented him. The wild hair? His idea. The moldy face? His idea. The erratic, chaos gremlin personality that defines the entire movie? 100% Keaton. Tim Burton gave him free rein to improvise, and Keaton unleashed. He was so outrageously funny that at one point, co-star Alec Baldwin almost choked from laughing too hard. Some of the character's most iconic lines, including the infamous "It's showtime," weren't in the script at all. They came straight out of Keaton's demented comedic brain. Honestly, Beetlejuice might have been just another quirky ghost, but with Keaton's improv, he became an immortal pop culture menace. Number 14. The epilogue was added at the last minute. Remember how studio execs almost called the film House Ghosts back in Fact 5? That same kind of outside pressure ended up changing the ending too, only this time, in the best way. Beetlejuice may be a pest, a creep, and possibly a safety hazard, but audiences loved him. So much so that his fate in the original ending just wasn't enough. In the first cut, Beetlejuice simply disappeared after the sandworm attack. That's it. No punchline, no chaos, just poof. But test audiences couldn't get enough of the ghost with the most, so Tim Burton whipped up a brand new epilogue at the last minute. He set it in the fan-favorite waiting room and let Beetlejuice do what he does best, annoy people. One witch doctor later, his head gets shrunken like a deflating balloon. It's short, it's weird, and it's perfect. Beetlejuice doesn't die, he just gets funnier. Number 15. Catherine O'Hara wasn't the first Delia. It's nearly impossible to imagine Delia Dietz without Catherine O'Hara's chaotic flair. But guess what? She wasn't the original pick. Tim Burton first cast Angelica Houston, and let's be honest, she's got that Burton-esque look nailed. But she had to drop out due to illness. Enter Catherine O'Hara, kind of. She got lost on the way to the audition and never showed up. But producer David Geffen believed she was perfect anyway and offered her the role directly. And boy, was he right. O'Hara turned Delia into a walking piece of surreal art. Bonus twist? She met her future husband, production designer Bo Welch, on set. From missed turns to movie magic, Delia found her muse. Number 16. The number 3 shows up everywhere. Beetlejuice isn't just haunted, it's mathematically possessed. The number 3 pops up so often, it's practically another character. You have to say his name 3 times to summon or banish him. Barbara says home 3 times to escape the model town. They knock 3 times on the door to enter the Netherworld. They get 3 meetings with Juno. Even their house plays along, 3 floors with the Maitlands haunting the 3rd one like it's their personal Airbnb. Tim Burton never explained why, but the number 3 clearly has some weird significance in this ghostly universe. 3 isn't just a number here, it's a supernatural rule. Say it once, say it twice. 3rd time, you better mean it. Number 17. Michael Keaton may have been inspired by another horror comedy. Remember how in Fact 8 Winona Ryder became Lydia? Well, some horror fans believe Michael Keaton crafted Beetlejuice with a little help from another madman. Horror fans have a keen eye, and some noticed Beetlejuice has a sinister twin. The character eerily resembles Chop Top from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. That movie hit theaters in 1986, right before Beetlejuice was filmed. Michael Keaton has never officially admitted it, but many believe Bill Moseley's deranged performance influenced his own. The manic energy, the grotesque humor, the voice, the overlap is uncanny. The difference: Chop Top kills people. Beetlejuice just terrorizes them with style. If this theory is true, Beetlejuice was born from the DNA of pure horror, then dipped in a bucket of cartoon chaos. Think less serial killer, more unhinged wedding crasher. Number 18. The red wedding dress isn't random. Lydia's blood red wedding dress is one of the most striking visuals in the entire movie, but that color choice wasn't just aesthetic flair. Many fans believe it's a chilling nod to an old Victorian poem brides once followed when choosing their wedding dress colors. The rhyme goes, "Married in red, you'll wish yourself dead." That's hauntingly appropriate, considering Lydia literally talks about wanting to die earlier in the film.
Is this what happens when you die?
Tim Burton is famous for hiding layered, poetic meanings beneath his twisted visuals, so it's hard to believe this was an accident. That dress isn't just fashion, it's foreshadowing. It's a scream wrapped in lace. And in the middle of all the camp and chaos, it gives the story an extra layer of beautifully morbid depth. Number 19. An 80s sitcom star almost played Barbara. Geena Davis is unforgettable as Barbara Maitland, the sweet, ghostly heart of the story. But watch, she wasn't the first choice. The role almost went to Kirstie Alley, who was riding high on the success of Cheers at the time. She reportedly couldn't escape her contract with the show, so the role slipped away. Other big names like Laura Dern and Sigourney Weaver were also considered. But then Davis came in, fresh, vulnerable, and radiant, and completely made the character her own. She and Alec Baldwin became the emotional core of this chaotic afterlife carnival. In the end, Alley got her TV crown, and Davis got a career-defining role. Sometimes what looks like a missed opportunity for one person turns into destiny for another. Number 20. Burton wanted the effects to look cheap. Most directors would panic if they only had $1 million for special effects. But Tim Burton saw it as an opportunity to lean into his inner mad scientist. Inspired by old Godzilla films and the stop-motion wizardry of Ray Harryhausen, Burton embraced a handmade B-movie aesthetic. Foam, wires, fishing lines, and stop-motion creatures gave the film its signature scrappy look. And those effects didn't age badly. They made the movie feel timeless, whimsical, and surreal in a way CGI could never replicate. That cheap look? It became a superpower. It's the reason the movie still feels alive and weird decades later. Bonus fact: Beetlejuice was almost rated R. Believe it or not, this goofy ghost comedy nearly ended up with an R rating instead of PG. Why? Because the original cut had a lot more swearing, including Beetlejuice dropping multiple F-bombs and some way darker death scenes. Tim Burton had to trim down some dialogue and visuals to keep the film accessible to a wider audience. Even after those cuts, the movie still has one of the edgiest PG ratings of its era. So yeah, Beetlejuice almost wasn't a family favorite. It was nearly a foul-mouthed, corpse-filled, real weird dream strictly for adults. And that's a wrap on 20 weird, twisted, and wonderfully bizarre facts about Beetlejuice. From its shoestring effects budget to Michael Keaton's wild improvisations, this chaotic masterpiece proves that you don't need perfection to make cinematic magic just a little crazy. But hey, if you love strange creatures and dark humor, don't stop here. Hop over to our next video, where we dive into the mischievous mayhem of gremlins. Trust me, it's just as wild, and a lot slimier. Click the next video and let's keep this monster movie marathon rolling.
Wow, that was weird.